This is the, like I said, this is the point where now this has just become a running joke now. I've already said this before about this about this freaking company that is the worst company to do horror movies. I'm just beating a dead horse by saying this. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm speaking the truth for myself though. Anyway, hey everyone, this is Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review for Halloween month. And after I just previously did on X, another crappy horror film that is produced by A24, the company. Like I said, the most overrated company ever, especially doing horror films that are just overrated garbage. Talk about the next one that also came out this year, shortly after X. Men. Yeah, it's called Men. No, it's not because I hate men, no. I just hate the movie called Men. Yeah, you get the joke there, right? Because I'm trying to be funnier, because this company, the horror films they come out, they're supposed to be, they're just laughable. Well, they're not supposed to be unintentionally funny, but they are funny unintentionally, just like with M. Night's The Happening. Which, sadly, I'd rather watch that than get a laugh at more than any of these A24 movies, you know? I've already said A24 is the most overrated company because I hate every horror film they did. Like I said, I hate this movie, I hated X, which I'd rather watch that than more of this, though. What was it? Midsommar, Hereditary, I think those are the worst ones I've seen. The most highly overrated ones of this produced by this company. The Witch, It Comes at Night, Killing the Secret Deer, The Lighthouse, Tusk, what else? I mentioned The Witch, Tusk, but yeah. But like I said, when they're not doing horror movies, I've enjoyed. I enjoyed The Disaster Artist, Uncut Gems, and I messed up the title when I mentioned this one. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, I screwed up the title there. I apologize for that, but it's Everything Everywhere All at Once with starring Michelle Yeoh, has Jamie Lee Curtis in it. Even the kid who played short round in Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom, and also played Data in The Goonies. I was like, oh wow, cool. I haven't seen him forever. I wonder what he just disappeared for like decades, all these years. And now he appears. Okay, cool. It's finally to see him again after all these years. You know. Yeah, although I do have a couple issues with the ending, though, but overall, I liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. Michelle Yeoh, especially, you know, funny thing is, I got that deal with multiple versions of Michelle Yeoh, you know, much better than freaking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You want to deal with multiple versions of different universes, whatever, that film did much better than Doctor Strange 2, sadly. So yeah. So when the A24 when they're not doing horror movies, I've liked. Although sadly though, although I was not a fan of The Green Knight, which I did not mention though in the previous review of X, because that was a fancy because based on that poem for why I remember who did that freaking poem. I don't care, but I was not a fan of The Green Knight because I thought it was just a boring movie. But other than that though, I like the films that they did that's not horror, you know. But everything else they did with horror has been overrated crap. They're supposed to be, because it's supposed to be, it's unintentionally funny, laughable, characters who don't have any sense of sensibility, no brain cells at all. They don't act like humans in in any of these movies. No common sense whatsoever. Speaking of, especially just like in Hereditary and Midsommar. X, I did not like, okay, but I would rather watch that than this because this was much more silly than X was. Like I said, all these movies have been made have been very silly, unintentionally funny, instead of being creepy or scary or suspenseful. None of these movies are. What is so creepy and scary or suspenseful about with men? And all this, and okay, the film was directed by Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina and Annihilation. And I did not hate Annihilation. There are things I liked about it, but just a couple of issues with I have with the movie. I say I did not hate Annihilation. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So I was in the middle with Annihilation. But this film, which actually I forgot to remind me, Alex Garland, I think he wrote and produced on Dread, actually. If he did, okay, that's probably the best work he's done. But I love Dread, though. But he didn't direct it, though. It was Pete Travis who directed Vantage Point. But he helped produce. He produced on Dread. But he didn't direct it, though. But this film, okay, just like with X, once again the lead is a woman, which, you know, okay, with this girl played by, who's the girl's name in this? Jessie Buckley. Is this character named Harper. She had an abusive husband. Okay, because you see, like, she had flashbacks spread throughout this movie. She had an abusive husband, and she was going to divorce him. And the husband says, "If you divorce me, I'll kill myself." She was going to, and guess what he does? And it's so silly how the guy, when he kills him, he dies in slow motion. I think he commits suicide by jumping off the roof, I think, if I remember. And I'm like, what is this? What is this habit of committing suicide so laughable in these movies? I mean, just with Midsommar, at the opening of that movie, when the lead's sister kills herself along with her parents. It was like, they made this so convoluted way for her to kill herself and the parents, especially with her stuck with a gas hose and duct tapes it to her mouth. Duct tapes. It was silly, although it's supposed to be serious. But the thing is, though, it comes off as laughable and silly as it was. And just like with the freaking suicide in that movie, and like the suicide in this movie, with the husband killing himself, why is it with all these characters committing suicide, it's supposed to be freaking laughable, but it's supposed to be serious at the same time? So after that, she goes to this village, right? But other than that, her tragic her with her abusive husband, what else does he know about this character Harper? Nothing. Just like with the lead girl, other than she was do porn, she did drugs, and she was a Christian girl to get away from her father. What else about that lead girl in X? Nothing much. Here, nothing much either. And plus, the whole thing, the whole message in this movie, which is supposed to be, right in your face, right, basically. Because she goes to this village, all the men in this movie are the exact same person, played by the exact same actor who was played by Rory Kinnear. They're all played by the same guy. Although the same face, but it's like a different type, if it's an old person, it's like an older version of the guy or whatever. Little slight tweaks of the same person. But the thing is, although it's supposed to be us, the viewer, to see all these men are the same. But if the girl is seeing the same person as the same person, why doesn't she not question she's seeing the person as the same person, every single one in the village? If she sees this, though, why does she not question that? But it's supposed to be we, the viewer, are supposed to notice that all these men are the same, because that's the thing, all men are the same, right? Because they have this message because of this whole masculinity and feminism, basically men are stupid, and the whole thing, men are stupid and strong women, right? I'm tired of seeing this in movies of this strong women. Although, don't get me wrong, Aliens, prime example with Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor in The Terminator. First of all, those are great characters with stories, right, and backgrounds. Here, just to say, with a character you know nothing about other than the tragic story with her husband, what else do you know about her? But it's supposed to showcase the strong feminism and then the whole masculinity of men are dumb and they're stupid or bad, right? I'm sorry to hate to be the bearer of bad news. It swings both ways. basically, because there's both bad of men and women of gender and color of all the same, right? Okay? It's not one-sided. Okay? There's good and bad. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly of all humans. Okay, it's not just one-sided. Okay, I'm tired of seeing that being shoved in our faces in the movies nowadays. If it was a strong lead woman with more interesting to the character, okay, I would forgive that though. But the thing is, though, when you have a character who's basically almost a nothing of a character, and the whole thing just because facing one woman against everything men, right? I'm sorry, you take me out because I'm tired of seeing all this PC stuff being shoved in movies nowadays. You know, it's not making good strong women like you see in Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley. You know, you don't nowadays. It's the whole thing that women are better than men. I'm tired of hearing that in movies. Okay. And everything is just the whole thing with everything looking the same of the same guy. It's silly, okay? Like you see a guy who is like the Green Man, who is like a plant version of this guy, and it comes off as laughable and silly, okay? It's laughable. I'm laughing my ass off seeing this guy with It just reminds me of the guy, the tree branch guy I saw from The Green Knight. I think it was played by Joel Edgerton. I think it was. Who was this guy who almost looked like a tree type of guy. And I'm almost saying the same thing like in here. I'm like, it's silly and it's laughable. I'm not being scared. It's not being scary or suspenseful. It's being laughable. And there's also another scene where she's in this tunnel and she does this echo, right? It's echoing and it's echoing and it's echoing towards this other person at the end of the tunnel. What's so scary about it? Or suspenseful, you know? And the lead lady, Jessie Buckley, okay, her acting is not bad, okay? It's not the same thing with all these other movies. You know, it's like trying to give like good acting and even a good looking look to the movies. That's supposed to be like their escape. They're trying to grab the audience with good-looking movies and not so bad acting, you know? They're just trying to mask that with the silly ideas and stupid decisions that humans make in these movies, you know? That's supposed to be a cover-up to mask those dumb decisions that are made by characters made in this movie. Yeah, it's like, we'll try to attract you with good-looking shots and camera angles and good-looking backgrounds of movies and not so bad acting by the actors, but shh, you know, because it's all a cover-up. Because we're trying to cover up by the poorly decisions that the humans don't act like humans in this movie, and they make and making the dumb decisions they make in these movies. That's the go-getter. And I'm sitting here watching because all these silly things in this movie that I'm just laughing my ass off on. I'm tired of seeing all these and they get all these A24 horror movies. They get all the praise for what? They all look very basically silly as level. Like you said, Midsommar. Okay, they don't have no common sense in those movies. Like you said, I keep on mentioning before with the whole thing with those old people falling off the cliff and a woman, another person taking a goddamn big hammer, killing the other person, and the two characters are arguing against each other about their freaking thesis. Instead of, hey, this is crazy, let's get the hell out of here. No. And like I said, logic in these movies are out the window with characters. They have no sense of logic in these movies. And what else is supposed to be there, okay? Then you get this whole thing at the end, which this whole film is in my brain. But this is what the whole thing is imprinted in my brain with this freaking ending of the movie. Which, like I said, the whole thing with men are bad, women are strong, whatever. Then you get this freaking weird thing where this whole thing where now men are giving birth to men. grown-ass men. Men giving birth to grown-ass men. You know, one out the mouth, blah, 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 and it's supposed to be the creepy, it's supposed to be creepy, right, and scary. No, it's not. It's freaking the most laughable thing in this movie. Whereas, and to the point where one gives birth to that resembles her husband, her dead abusive husband, and then he's talking to her and he's saying, "Will you love me again?" And then it cuts away where you see that by the morning she's a little bloodied up, but you get the idea she killed him, because it's supposed to be like, oh, if I do this, it's supposed to be the guilt, right? Because oh, I was gonna divorce you, but then I'm gonna kill myself, and he did, and it's supposed to make her feel guilty, right? Well, she killed because before we did that, she was holding an axe or a hatchet, right? And by the next morning, she's not holding that anymore, and she's like a little bit bloodied up by the time her friend arrives, who's pregnant, and she's just sitting there, So you get the idea that she killed him off screen, and thinking, oh, now she has no guilt anymore because she killed him. She killed him herself instead of him committing suicide again, right? I don't want to make this I don't want to make this as long as it did with X. I don't. I mean, I'm trying to make this not this long of a review of it because what else is there to think about this movie? What is so scary and suspenseful? What is so good about the lead woman? Her backstory with her abusive husband. What else? Nothing else is good about her. Premise of each act of the same actor looking the same as every man in the village is silly. The whole creepy thing of men giving birth. Yeah, I want to see men give birth to full grown ass men. That's supposed to be creepy. No, it's downright silly and laughable. I rather watch if I want to see a man giving birth to a baby. I'll rather watch Junior with Arnold Schwarzenegger. First of all, that's a comedy. First of all, okay. And I like Arnold, I like Dan DeVito, Emma Thompson, Frank Langella was in it, okay. I'd rather watch Junior if I want to play, if we'll see a guy giving birth to a baby. Although, except it wasn't a grown-ass man, it was a baby, though. As an experiment, though. I'd rather watch Junior than this. And that's a comedy, I'd rather laugh more than anything than these A24 horror films are supposed to be serious and scary, but they turn out to be downright laughable and silly. And like I said, as I mentioned with X, now, like I said, I would probably watch X in this, though, but that ain't saying much. I still think that Midsommar and Hereditary, I think those are the two most overrated ones that this company has made, and I'm tired of seeing this company making silly horror films like this. I'm telling you, every single horror film that's going to come out made by this company from now on is going to be overrated and it's going to be garbage. I'm betting on it. Because I'm tired of seeing this company, okay? They're the worst company that do horror films, alright? They are. In my opinion, they do. Why can't we just get fun horror films like this movie? Willy's Wonderland, okay? Nicolas Cage... it's like the man with no name, almost, but he's kicking ass. Willy's Wonderland is, like I said, Willy's Wonderland is better than any of this freaking company right here. Where's my... Right there. A24, Willy's Wonderland is better than any horror film they've made. Or, as I mentioned before, previously, Malignant was a really insane horror film that James Wan directed. I find that underrated now. And that was like a Gabriel, the conjoined twin Gabriel going full on John Wick, killing all these police officers in the station, or the prisoners in the jail cell. That was like utterly madness, insane with that in a Malignant. Like I said, the twist I did not see coming. Okay, it did things differently and it was like refreshing. Okay, even Willy's Wonderland. I'm sorry. Even this, the other horror films like came out this year, like The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. I enjoyed that film because it was from the director of the first Doctor Strange movie, which he did a good job with that. I like The Black Phone. Better than horror films. Okay. I mean, what? Okay. If you like this movie, that's fine. But tell me one good thing about this that you thought was not laughable. So tell me one suspenseful or creepy moment you think is about this movie. Other than the good-looking camera shots and the not-so-bad acting, what else is there? Nothing. In my opinion, this film is an outright silly. Okay. Freaking men. I hate Men. No, not that. I hate Men. Pun intended. No, I just hate this movie called Men. I rather if I want for this company, don't do any more horror movies. Like I said, go make more films like Uncut Gems or Everything Everywhere All at Once or The Disaster Artists. Okay, make more films like those. Okay, stick with that. Stop making more of these dumb horror movies. Which I get, I don't get so much. Get the whole, like I said, the message. Like I said, it's in your face, because women are smarter and men are dumb and stupid, or the whole masculinity or the feminism. I'm tired of seeing that PC stuff and putting it in movies nowadays. And like I said, it's not being sexist or anything. I'm not being sexist or anything. I'm like, hey, I like Sarah Connor from the first two Terminator films, Ellen Ripley from Alien and Aliens. Okay. So don't give me that, alright? It's just those characters they have story, they have backgrounds or whatever, and there's more to the characters, and literally those films have stories in them. If I'm not engaged in the character, what else is there about the character? They have to have actual character to their characters, basically. But yeah. This film is another, what is it, A24 now, and unfortunately, I have one more I need to go through, and that's that freaking the worst one, the funny one of Hereditary. I gotta go through that. Jesus criminy. It's Midsommar. I reviewed last year. It's that film and and Hereditary. They're the worst horror films made by this company, and it's the most laughable. But like I said, I don't like The Witch, Killing of the Sacred Deer, or The Lighthouse, or Tusk, It Comes at Night, and these two movies, and then Hereditary and Midsommar, okay? Like all the ones I mentioned. Although I wasn't a fan of The Green Knight either, so... I mean, like I said, I'd rather watch Willy's Wonderland 10 times over than any of these movies, or Malignant, or I'd rather watch The Black Phone, or from 2019, I'd rather watch the Child's Play remake more than any of these movies, or Crawl from 2019. So, yeah. Men, another overrated A24 funny horror movie. But the thing is, I'm just preparing myself for the worst because I have to do Hereditary next. That film's already giving me a headache already. Hereditary is. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next review for Halloween month, and we'll see you next time. Later.